Well, hello, Conrad and Lucy and Caleb. As you can see, the Hulk wanted to sit in on this story because you know what? This story with Giant Man and the Wasp features the one and only ever loving, incredible Hulk who battles Giant Man in this story. Why? Well, we'll find out. All right. Uh, so this is Giant Man and the Wonderful Wasp. Enter the Hulk. And the editor says our unusual tale begins with a meeting of the world's most powerful fighting team, the Avengers. All right, and so Iron Man is sitting on top of the barbell that Giant Man is exercising with. And Iron Man says, my transistor powered portable projector is working better than ever. Look at these newsreel shots of the Hulk battling Spider Man. Well, goodness, I wonder when that story was. And Giant Man says, I wonder whatever became of the Hulk. I can't help feeling sorry for him. And Captain America asks, I wonder how he feels about us right now. Yeah, here's the whole picture of the team with Thor swinging around on the hoops, and Giant Man lifting his barbells, Captain America exercising too. All right, so not very far away on the west side of town, a bitter man named Davy Cannon reads a newspaper account of Giant Man's recent victory. And so he reads, well, so my old pal Giant Man is hogging the headlines again, is he? I wonder if he's forgotten about me. He probably doesn't even know that the human top was freed on parole last week. The human top, do you remember him? We're about to be reminded about him. See, the headline says exclusive new Giant Man adventure. All right. So remember, the human top spins really fast. And in the last time that Giant Man met the top, he got a hold of his growing capsules. And the top remembers this. I remember our last battle, I made him look sick on the rooftops. I'd have licked him with my tornado funnel if he hadn't landed on some high wires. My biggest mistake was thinking he was clumsy. Boy, how wrong I was, but I'll never underestimate him again. He finally beat me when the roof collapsed under me. I'll never know why it did. Well, we know if we remember that story. To this day, the top doesn't suspect that the Wasp ordered a group of termites to weaken the roof, and that's why he crashed. And that's why he was arrested and put in prison. But foolishly, they let him out. And now he thinks, Giant Man is the only one ever to beat me, and I'll never rest till I pay him back for it. He can't imagine how much more dangerous I am now than I was. With my superhuman spinning power, I've learned to focus the power of the air pressure I generate into a stream powerful enough to blast a hole in a brick wall. And I've learned not to wear that old stupid costume, which made me too easy to recognize. Whoosh! And look at him blast a hole through the wall. But leave the top with his bitter thoughts and turn back to the Avengers, whose meeting has just ended. Giant Man says, you men go ahead. I'm going to stay here a while longer. And so Thor flies off, Iron Man flies off, and Captain America is not going to fly off, but he's going to step out and leave. Alone with the Wasp at Avengers headquarters, the giant-sized adventurer once more studies the filmed account of the Hulk's last recorded battle. Wasp says, "Come on, big boyfriend, let's go out to dinner. We've seen this film a dozen times." "I know, Jan," responds Hank. "I just can't get the Hulk out of my mind." "Well, we'll talk about him while we leave." "Don't bother taking a growth capsule, honey. I'll think you back to normal, just as I do for myself." "Henry J. Pym, I ask you not to do that. You're just showing off with your new cybernetic mental size control, that's all." So evidently, Giant Man has learned how to think himself big and small instead of having to take pills. And he can do the same for Jan. And so they put on their coats on the outside, but they don't bother changing their costume. And they're walking out in public, and here's some characters out on the street corner. "Hey boys, look at that living doll walking with that square." Wasp says, "Just ignore those street corner wolves, Hank. They're not bothering me one bit." "Maybe not, Jan," answers Hank, "but they're sure rubbing me the wrong way." "Oh well, I'll pretend I didn't hear them." "Hey sister, why don't you ditch that itch and date a real man, namely me?" "Ah, hardly." Could that tomato and me make beautiful music?" And he whistles as if that's going to attract her attention. Then this guy says, "What are you two wearing? Long underwear?" Because their costumes are showing underneath their coats. "Come on, let's follow him and see." "What? What? Holy Hannah, look, it's Giant Man." So they weren't expecting that. Giant Man says, "Okay, Loudmouths, if you're looking for a little action, I'll see if I can oblige you." Wasp says, "I never saw Hank double his size so fast before." Exactly 2 minutes later, "Aw, come back. Don't leave us like this." And look, Giant Man hung him out to dry on a lamppost and up in a clothesline. Millions of people in this town, and we had to pick on Giant Man. This other fella is in the garbage can. Pewee. But as luck would have it, another pair of eyes have also witnessed the incident in the street below. The eyes of the human top. Boy, what a break. The two people I most wanted to find. Now I've got to make sure they don't get away from me. I'll follow them and keep them in sight until the time is right for me to get my revenge on that overgrown clown. And so, spinning so rapidly that the human eye cannot possibly see him, the top races from his apartment and begins his pursuit of Giant Man and the Wasp. He thinks, if I follow them long enough, sooner or later I'll get the opportunity I want. "Gosh, Hank," says Jan, "it's so windy all of a sudden. Let's get to the restaurant fast." But Hank says, "Sorry, Jan, forget about dinner for now. We're taking a trip instead. We'll eat on the plane." "Why?" asks Jan. "Where are we going?" And Hank answers, "To New Mexico. The Hulk was last seen there, and I won't be able to rest till I've found him and tried to talk him into rejoining the Avengers." Well, the top is right behind and he hears. Well, well, that sounds real interesting. I think the human top will just join them. A few hours later, they're on the plane. "Fasten your seatbelts, please. We're about to land." And Hank thinks, the Hulk is somewhere down there. I've got to find him. And then the top is right behind. There they go. It'll be a cinch to keep him in sight. This is almost too easy for the human top. It's a good thing I'm so average looking. I don't even have to disguise myself. "Hank," says Jan, "New Mexico is a mighty big state." And we all know that, don't we? Because we've been to New Mexico. We've been to the cabin, which is in New Mexico. Where will you start searching? The Air Force Missile Base, Jan. The Hulk was last reported in that vicinity. I think General Thunderbolt Ross will remember me. Well, they're in a part of New Mexico that's far away from the cabin. The cabin's up in the mountains, but as you will see, they're in the part of New Mexico that's very flat. Later, a rented helicopter lands at the base. And here comes the helicopter. This soldier says, "Easy on the trigger, Joe." He sees us. He's landing. They're at the Los Diablos missile base. Giant Man salutes the soldier. "We didn't know, sir." Giant Man says, "Take me to General Ross, soldier." And so, after a conversation, Giant Man says, "Then you haven't seen any trace of the Hulk for weeks, General? But I thought—" "Look, mister," says General Ross, "I've had enough of that rampaging menace to last me a lifetime. I've got a few other little things to do, like run this missile base, but I'll ask one of my civilian scientists to help you. Someone get Bruce Banner here, on the double." Bruce Banner? Does that name sound familiar to you? Bruce Banner is the Hulk, but we'll figure that out pretty quick. There he is now. "Dr. Banner, I'd like to speak to you about the Hulk. I'm trying to find him, and General Ross thought you might help. I recognize you from your newspaper photos." General Ross says, "Wasp, get that whirlybird off the field. This isn't a Blaine parking lot." General Ross is a grump. But here's what Bruce Banner says. "Sorry, Giant Man, I can't help you. I know nothing about the Hulk, and I care less." It's not true. He knows and cares very much. "Okay then," says Giant Man, "we'll search for him in our own way. But if you do hear of him, contact me via my special Avengers Band shortwave." And so he jumps on the helicopter and they're off. And Bruce thinks, so the Avengers are still seeking the Hulk, hey? Will they never leave him in peace? And then here's Betty Ross. "Bruce, what's wrong? I saw Giant Man speak to you, and then you looked so angry." "Nothing's wrong, Betty. Everything's wrong. What difference does it make? You're the general's daughter, and I'm a humble atomic scientist with a secret I can never reveal to a living soul." "Bruce," hollers Betty, "wait, come back. Bruce, my darling, I've never seen you this way before. Wait." But Bruce ignores his girlfriend, Betty. Poor Betty, he thinks. I love her far too much to involve her in my problem. How could she know? How could she even suspect that the man she knows as Dr. Robert Bruce Banner is in reality the Incredible Hulk? And she follows and thinks, something is terribly wrong. I know it. I can't let him drive off like that. I'll get my car and follow. He may need me. His mind in a turmoil, never dreaming that Giant Man has come to help the Hulk, Bruce Banner drives into the hills with a burning rage in his heart. I've tried to forget the Hulk, to pretend he never existed, but they won't let me. No, I mustn't get excited. I mustn't let my blood pressure rise. When it does, I can't control myself. I begin to change. And look, he's turning green. Do you know what that means? He's about to Hulk out. So he's changing into the Hulk. And thus the Incredible Hulk appears once more, the strongest living mortal on the face of the earth, a raging human engine of destruction and wrath. So Giant Man seeks the Hulk, does he? And he lifts up the Jeep and wrecks it. With a bellow of sheer animal rage, the most powerful legs in the world propel the Hulk skyward in the first of his many prodigious leaps, so high and so fast that he seems to be flying. Well, he'll find the Hulk to his everlasting regret. Not long afterwards, panic seizes a nearby town. Look, it's the Hulk. And of course, he's out of control and raging, tearing up everything in sight. Run, run, the Hulk is here. Someone send for the army. Only they can stop him. But among the fearful townspeople, there is one who smiles with glee. It's the human top. He says, all the breaks are falling my way. The Hulk is what I need to finish off Giant Man. Meanwhile, General Thunderbolt Ross's lovely daughter Betty comes upon Bruce Banner's overturned vehicle along the lonely mountain road. It's Bruce's Jeep. It's been in an accident. That must mean, oh no, no. But there's no sign of Bruce. Wait, these glasses, his torn coat, and those footprints, they can only belong to the Hulk. It can only mean the Hulk has taken him. There's no chance for him. But look, here's the wonderful Wasp flying around. She thinks, looks like Hank and I arrived just in time. Searching the area atop a flying ant in his original identity as Ant-Man, the astonishing adventurer cries out, there is a chance, Miss Ross. And then he turns into Giant Man, and Betty cries, Giant Man, but where did you come from? How? He says, explanations are too boring, but I know the Hulk. He won't harm your boyfriend without cause, no matter what people say about him. I'll find him and prove it. Meantime, the human top spins around just outside of town, waiting for the Hulk to appear. He's got to come this way soon, and when he does, I'll stop him and make him an offer. With his strength and my brains, we'll both finish off Giant Man easy. And if the Hulk refuses me, I'll hurl my speed blast at him. If it can shatter a boulder, it ought to be able to take care of anyone that lives. Anyone but the Hulk, of course. But even the human top doesn't suspect how fast the Hulk can leap, and the rampaging creature appears before the top has time to even stop his spin. And the Hulk says, I've got to find Giant Man. I'll finish him forever. Nothing will stand in my way. Nothing, nothing. And he leaps and he crashes into this giant pillar of rock, tearing it in two. The top looks and says, it's him, but he's crashing into that peak. He's toppling it. I never dreamt his strength was so great. Only by spinning at maximum speed can the top create a windscreen dense enough to protect him from the falling boulders. The boulders are falling, but the top is spinning so fast they can't harm him. And by the time the Hulk is gone, well, the top is left behind. I missed my chance, but I'll catch up with him yet. Then the very man the Hulk is seeking sees him first. There he goes. Giant Man sees the Hulk leaping and flying away. I've been carrying this tiny carbon dioxide power rocket for just such an occasion. What's he going to do with that tiny rocket? By transforming myself to Ant-Man, I'll be able to ride in it, and despite its size, it has supersonic speed. It's good for only one brief use before its power is gone, but that'll be enough for me. And so he jumps into the missile and flies off. The Hulk is heading for the next town. I've got to reach there before he does. And so Giant Man speeds off. I should say Ant-Man speeds off and overtakes the Hulk. The Hulk is thinking, sooner or later I'll find Giant Man. And all he needs to do is look up and he'll see him. He's too big to hide from me much longer, but if he's Ant-Man, then he's small enough to hide from him. Hulk says, I'll search every town till I've got him. And as Ant-Man flies by, he thinks my miniature missile is so swift and silent that the Hulk doesn't even notice it rocketing past him. I made it. Now I've got to find a way to make the Hulk listen to me when he gets here. The first thing to do is evacuate the town. This billboard will help to do it. The billboard says Standig motor oil, best for your car. But he just rolls it up into a megaphone, rolling the billboard up like a paper in his massive double-sized hands. Giant Man uses it as a megaphone. Attention, attention, the Hulk is coming. Evacuate the town. Emergency. Here's a fellow who says, the Hulk at large again? Can we believe him? Another fellow says, believe him? Mister, that's Giant Man. He didn't come here to play games. Within seconds, a mass exodus begins out of the small town. And Giant Man thinks, another few seconds and the town will be empty, and not an instant too soon. Now I won't have to worry about innocent people being hurt when he appears. I've got to find a way to convince him that mankind isn't his enemy, if only he'll give me the chance. And just at the outskirts of the little town, as the Hulk prepares to make the final leap, which will bring him to the main street, Hulk, wait, I've something to tell you. Who is this? It's the Top. But the Hulk waits for nobody, he says. But this is important, says the Top. Bah, nothing is important to the Hulk. Hold it, you brainless fool. Can't you see I'm trying to help you? Well, the Hulk can't see that at all. All he can see is the Top spinning around. And only my speed blast can save me. There, he uses his speed blast. It pulverizes the boulder, and the Hulk is just left standing there. Now I need to talk fast before he attacks me again, thinks the Top. I know you're looking for Giant Man. He's in the town just ahead, waiting to ambush you. You must strike without warning. Don't give him a chance. Oh, the Top is blowing this. He's lying to the Hulk. And then he thinks it worked. He forgot about me. He took off like a missile. Nothing can save Giant Man now. Hulk says nobody can ambush the Hulk. I'll make the Avengers wish they had never heard of me. So far so good, says the Top, but now I'll make sure that this is the end of Giant Man. I see a military convoy heading this way. And just a few hundred yards away, General Thunderbolt Ross barks a command as the human Top spins toward him. Convoy, halt! Something is approaching. Either I'm losing my marbles, or it's a man spinning around as fast as a Top. Having never heard of the human Top, the general watches incredulously until the Top says, I've come to warn you, the Hulk is in the town ahead of you. The Hulk, says Ross. Are you certain, man? It's a big green monster. Yeah, I'm certain. This is the Hulk. You can't confuse him with anybody else. Yes, sir. The entire town has been evacuated. It's empty except for the Hulk. Didn't say anything about Giant Man. If what you say is true, this is my one chance to stop that raging menace for good. Within seconds, the battle-wise military leader sends out scouts, and when they return, one of them says, the report is correct, sir. The town has been evacuated. All the inhabitants have fled to Sandy Point in the next district. But this is the chance I've been waiting for, to rid the world of the Hulk. What about Giant Man? Did the soldier see him? Exactly 2 minutes later, Thunderbolt Ross's command car races to the lead tank. I heard from command headquarters. They authorize using a nuclear warhead shell. That's crazy. That means Plan B. Take your stations, men. Meanwhile, in the center of town, the Hulk and Giant Man finally meet face to face. This is what we've been waiting for all issue. The Hulk, says Giant Man, at last I found you. Wrong, mister, says the Hulk. I found you. And now I'm going to show you what I do to my enemies, no matter how big they are. Wait, says Giant Man. Don't be a fool. I came to help you, to offer you. It won't work, says Hulk. You can't trick me. You're my enemy. All men are my enemies. Then, without warning, with the force of a thunderbolt, the Incredible Hulk strikes. It won't take me long to chop you down to my size, so I'll begin now. So he leaps up and comes down onto Giant Man. Giant Man nimbly parries the blow, ducking quickly to one side. Whew! Even though he only grazed me, it feels like I've been hit by a bulldozer. What power he has! Indeed. But then, unexpectedly, the towering Avenger performs a feat no living being has ever dared to attempt, or could ever attempt. He tosses the Hulk up in the air. He thinks my only hope is to keep him off balance long enough for me to reason with him. And the most important thing is to win his respect, to show him he's up against someone as powerful as he is. Okay, Hulk, now are you ready to talk sense? As Hulk crashes into a brick wall. And Giant Man thinks, even though I know how strong he is, it's hard to believe he can get right up, as though nothing has happened. He just can't be hurt. Hulk says, you think you can wear me out, slow me down? You're a fool, Giant Man. You don't know the Hulk. The angrier I get, the stronger I get, and I've never been angrier. And so here he comes, like a maddened bull, charging at Giant Man. So you sidestep my blow. Well, you can't keep sidestepping forever. Boom, 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 boom. And then before Giant Man can make another move, the Hulk makes one of his lightning-fast leaps, and he leaps on top of his head. I've got you now. Nothing that lives can break the Hulk's grip. And that's just about true. But, don't kid yourself, Hulk. What good is your grip if I suddenly shrink down to the size of an ant? So because he's got his mental powers, he can shrink down without having to bother with a capsule. Can you see the Hulk's face? He's like, what happened? Where did he go? I can't find him. I can't see him. He slipped out of my grip. I guess somebody can break his grip, huh? No matter how strong you are, it's not too easy to keep a tight grip on a tiny ant, is it? And so, boom, he just falls on his rear end. And then in the very next split second, but here, I'll make it easier for you. I'll become Giant Man again. And so from underneath him, Ant-Man goes to Giant Man and lifts the Hulk up into the air. Now will you stop fighting and listen to reason and give you a chance to trick me, retorts the Hulk. Never, no matter how you change your size, I'll smash you yet. My strength has to win in the end. And then, grasping the ledge of a nearby building, the Hulk brings down a section of the wall down on his huge adversary before the Giant Man can make another move. Ugh! My shoulder! Wham! That was a mighty blow. Where is your confidence now? Where are your boasts, your smart remarks? In the end, nothing can beat the raw power of the Hulk. And that's just about the truth. He's leaping at me. If he connects, I'm a goner. Here he comes. Oh no! With perfect timing, the 12-foot Titan rolls out of harm's way at the last second. Crash! And the Hulk lands on ground. At that moment, just outside of town, the Wasp overhears a startling command. We're zeroed in on the center of town, sir. Then fire the small bore atomic shell. It will damage a minimum of property, but it's sure to put the Hulk out of action. Wasp thinks, oh no, they think the Hulk is alone. They don't know Giant Man is there. No time to stop them. They fired it. It'll be the end of Hank unless it's a chance in a million, but I've got to take it. And look, the wasp is flying to the missile itself. She grabs on. I made it. Now, if only I can reach the detonating device before it strikes its target. I'll keep trying till the last second, and if I'm too late, then at least Hank and I will go together. I'll be with the man I love till the very end. What a dangerous, daring attempt. It's hopeless, says the wasp. I can never open this lid before the shell reaches its target. Wait, there's still another chance if I can if I can contact Hank through his cybernetic helmet. And so she sends out a wavelength. Our helmets are designed for thought communication over thought distances. We're close enough now. Oh, Hank, my darling, read me, read me. And a microsecond later, Hank hollers out, "You've done all you can, Jan. Jump. Jump before it's too late." Hulk says, pretending to talk to someone behind me, "You don't fool me with that trick." I did it. I warned him. But what can he do now to save himself? And so the wasp flies off the missile. Hulk, listen to me. Look into the sky, directly overhead. That's an atomic shell coming this way. If it strikes, we both die, but only you can save us. I'm not so sure. I think I could survive a small atomic blast, but you sure can't. But Hulk does look up and he sees the missile coming. But I want to be the one to finish you, not some blamed bomb. And as he watches, Hank realizes he's leaping to intercept the shell, as I knew he would. He leaps up. If this is going to be the end of the Hulk, If this is going to be the end of the Hulk, then who cares? Maybe it'll be the best thing that could happen. I'm no good to myself or to anyone else. The whole world hates me almost as much as I hate myself. Bless his heart. He has a very bad feeling about himself and his condition. Whoom! But he's strong enough to catch the missile. Watching from a safe distance, the human top sees his sinister scheme ruined by the power of the Hulk. And he thinks, why did he do it? Why did he save Giant Man? There's no telling where he'll land with that thing. I'd better get out of here. And so the missile carries the Hulk way beyond the town, and the human top spins his way out of there. But look, you can see this part of New Mexico is very barren desert with cactus out there. Nothing like our beautiful mountains and cabin. As capricious fate would have it, the Hulk finally hurls the atomic shell up into the hills. There, he tosses. Nothing will feel it when it explodes except for a few rocks and some sand dunes. Looks like my time hasn't come yet. And the potent shell finally explodes in the same hills where the human top had taken refuge. Boom! Major explosion. Meanwhile, back at the city, Giant Man says, he saved me. But what about the Hulk? Was he himself caught up in the shockwave of the explosion? For the answer to Giant Man's question, let's return to the most powerful of all of Earth's mortals. And look, he's being tossed backwards, being tossed like a feather in the breeze. Everything's spinning round. I'm blacking out. Later, after the smoke has cleared from the modern low-yield atomic shell, a form begins to stir on the spot where the Hulk had fallen. But now it's Bruce Banner again. It's not the massive form of the rampaging man-brute. It's the slim, gaunt figure of Dr. Robert Bruce Banner. And he realizes, I'm alive. I've changed back to myself again. The force of the explosion must have done it. And a short time later, here's Betty, and she's pointing. She sees Bruce. Oh, Dad, look, Giant Man was right. It's Bruce. The Hulk didn't harm him. General Ross sighs. Hundreds of rugged, husky military men in my command, but that scatterbrained daughter of mine has to fall for a skinny, weakling, pencil pusher. Bah! Just goes to show some women like the skinny type. Well, Jan, says Giant Man, it looks like I failed. I couldn't convince the Hulk to join us again. The Wasp answers, but you saw him save your life in the end. Perhaps in a way you succeeded more than you know. The next day, Giant Man and the Wasp are back in New York for a regularly scheduled meeting of the Avengers. All members present and accounted for, so the meeting will come to order. Iron Man says, we've no urgent business today. Things have been quiet in town since our last meeting. Thor says, indeed, then nobody has anything to report. Captain America is reading something about a headline with Dr. Zemo. We know who he is. He's a bad guy. Oh well, says Giant Man, that's the way the mop flops. I guess we can't expect to have a rip-snorting adventure every time we step out of the door. Of course, they had a rip-snorter of an adventure with the Hulk, didn't they? And the top says, Blue Eyes, you're a caution. All right. And so, interestingly enough, the real villain of this story was the Human Top. And he never really encountered Giant Man at all. Giant Man had no idea that the Human Top was involved in this story. Well, I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope the Hulk enjoyed reading about himself. And of course, Spider-Man is always hanging around listening to these stories. Well, what's next? Who will Giant Man meet up with again? Wait till you see. The next person Giant Man fights will be the wonderful Wasp. Giant Man versus the Wasp. Wow, what a story that's going to be. All right, we'll tell you that story next time. All right, until then, I love you all. Bye-bye.